You're listening to Surely a Mystery, straight from Long Beach Island, New Jersey. We're here to share with you all the spooky, scary, and mind-bending enigmas that make up the Jersey Shore. I'm your living host, Anna, here with some mystery, history, and a few tips to proper ghost hunting. So why don't we get started? When doing research for this episode, I thought that it would be about orbs and floating lights that are seen all over New Jersey, especially in the Pinelands. We're not talking about lightning bugs or other creatures that look like they glow in the dark, but something happened and I literally fell down a rabbit hole. First, I thought I would research orb things, which of course, due to recent events, led me back to drone stuff, which I already have done an episode in the past on. So then I was like, why not research noises? So that was a little interesting, but I go over a few of those events because only a few of them are not accounted for. I mean, every day around the world, we hear things that are quick, often shocking, and frankly just plain weird. Like you hear it, but your brain just can't put your finger on what was causing the sound. What could have produced it? In New Jersey newspapers for the last 10 or 20 years, I could find tons of sounds or weird sounds. So let's talk about a few of them so you can get the difference between a single one-off event and what I'm going to talk about, called the hum. In January 2014, from Wildwood to Manahawkin, there was like this shaking centered around Wildwood, and it just happened. No injuries, no military testing, no earthquakes, according to the USGS. It happened in the middle of the day, rumbling under people's feet, and two heavy waves of vibrations. Things would shift around houses, and it was said to be deep underground. Reason? Nobody knows. November 2018, a loud music coming from over the river from Delaware to New Jersey, and it happened at night and all night long. Really deep bass sounds. Some thought it was like a party boat out on the water, so the Coast Guard started patrolling and could hear the same noise, but it never found the source. They thought, well, maybe it was car stereo fanatics, but even the Delaware cops found nothing either. December 2020, in a 10-mile span of area in Maluka Township, people heard a sound like an explosion, which oftentimes would shake an entire house. It was close to local residential areas, and some said it sounded like a shotgun or a cannon or a bomb being dropped from a plane. But there was no damage. But many witnesses talk about the foundation of their homes literally being rocked. Then that quickly was gone. The people would feel it and hear it and can recognize what they think that it sounds like. But still, nobody's figured it out. January 2023, in Oakland, New Jersey, there was this loud boom with a resonance. It was a sound in the middle of the day, especially around Franklin Lakes. Whole houses literally shook. And it happened at 12:30 in the middle of the day. The local army confirmed that they did do testing, but their testing was 2 o'clock that day in the afternoon. So it wasn't them, and there were no reported earthquakes in the area. Well, July 2024, it was actually a fireball that people heard, and it traveled 34,000 miles an hour, starting over New Jersey and ending near the Statue of Liberty. This year alone, there are two. January 2025, it sounded like a huge bomb, like something blew up near Leonardo, New Jersey, around 10:30 p.m., and then again at 3:43 a.m., the sky went blue and then white. Now, the local police just chalked it up to some transformer blowing, but the local power company said, nope, no one lost power that night, no transformers blew up. The Naval Weapons Station said, nope, we weren't doing anything, it wasn't us. So, still unsolved. March 2025, strange noises. Well, this time they turned out to be naval test flight over the ocean. Some you can figure out that, yeah, it was a man-made cause. Many believe that lots of noises are actually caused by sonic booms. These are caused when the aircraft flying at supersonic speeds during a training exercise finally break the sound barrier. The weather or other atmospheric conditions can actually amplify how far away you can hear the booms or even feel them. Like in one of the examples, a fireball or meteor. We all saw those videos from, I think it was Russia. It enters the Earth's atmosphere, it produces a loud boom. You see it and you can feel it. It can even break windows. Then there's a flash, and the flash is followed by a traveling, shaking sensation out from the center source. Well, maybe it's transformer explosions. Loud booms, some light, but they tend to be really localized, like in a short area. And they don't really make whole houses miles away shake. Earthquakes, yes. We have earthquakes in New Jersey. New York City has had a magnitude 6 or 7 every 100 years, which is felt all over New Jersey. And there have been 98 earthquakes, a big record in New Jersey since 1783. They mostly, well, they're kind of small by most people's standards. Little tremors, they don't really register, but they happen all the time. And some are literally man-made. The earth shakes every time we set off a bomb, an explosion. Believe it or not, even with a really big truck drives over the area, you can feel the ground move. Now, remember, was it Beyonce or Taylor Swift's concert in Europe that literally set off every seismograph in the area because the concert goers were literally jumping up and down and moving the earth? And in case you didn't realize it, the earth herself makes sounds. The shifting, the moving, the volcanoes, the glaciers falling. You get it. She is in constant motion and never really sleeping. But the hum is different. I'm going to first address who hears it and what the statistics are. Now, trust me, many people are studying this effect. I even hear it. And there are several factors as to why I specifically hear it. 1 out of 10 people in the hum area will hear it. And in fact, 2% or more of the world's population hear the hum on a semi-regular basis, or at least once in their lifetime. Most people who hear the hum are between 55 and 70. Many who are considered on the autism spectrum can hear it too. And of course, people with ADHD. Now, those two categories represent about 2% of all the people who can hear the hum. And get this weird one. If you're ambidextrous, like me, you have a 5-to-1 chance of hearing it. However, there are many who do not fit into these nice slices of the population who actually hear it too. Now, some of the symptoms of hearing the hum are a vibrating in your chest, disrupted hearing at nighttime only, headaches, anxiety, insomnia, a pulsating feel throughout your body. Many report sleeping poorly, meaning literally that you fall asleep, but you get bad sleep. I have a Fitbit tracker that tracks my sleep, and there are many times that I wake up on a hum night, and the numbers is like 52% good sleep, and basically I slept sucky that night. Many people report agitation, dizzinesses, nosebleeds at random. Yeah, these happen to people who have never had health issues before. And then suddenly, after hearing the hum, they do. Many look for logical and rational explanations, and they lean into, oh, it's stress, or workplace, or relationship problems. You get it. They want to blame it on something. And as humans, we try to find a solution or a reason for why things happen, and then we just accept it. I leaned into one thing as a reason for why I heard the hum, and I'll talk about it at one point. Many of the hummers, or heroes, as they're called worldwide, often don't report it or speak publicly about it. I mean, seriously, in days past, they would have put me in an insane asylum. I hear noises? Really? That's nice. Did you take your meds today? You also don't want others to think that you're crazy or that you're sick. So many would just think it's a one off or some weird happening. Now, why? Why does this hum happen? First, let's talk about a few of the noted hum zones. The hum zones that have been documented, studied, but not a lot of good answers, and have been reported in the media. Historically, not a lot of the documented hum cases specifically. I mean, some might be locked in religious documents, like people heard the gods or angels talking and not specifically called it a hum. Others reason that historically, exactly what I said, people didn't talk because they didn't want to get locked up or put in the attic permanently. Also, people tended to look for simple, rational reasons for the noises, like wind, animals, and or weather, and nowadays military testing. So, Bristol, England was the first reported hum zone. In about the 1970s, over 800 people heard this steady humming sound. Many said that, oh, it's just vehicular traffic. Or maybe it's just because they're working 24-hour shifts in local factories. Again, no. Taos, New Mexico's hum was starting about the spring of 1991. It was like a low level rumbling noise. Now, scientists at the nearby Los Alamos National Laboratory and the Sandia National Laboratories, they couldn't identify the sound. Some of their people could hear it, they identified it, but the sources, they couldn't figure it out. So it gave some validity to the fact that this hum is indeed happening. It was not in these people's imaginations. And the strange thing, 11% of the total population of Taos heard it at some point. We have Windsor, Ontario hum in Canada, and they've given the University of Windsor a grant to actually study it because it's so well documented and so many people have heard it. If you want to see where the hum happens, just Google the hum map. And there is a map of worldwide occurrences. I decided to just look at the map and think about some of the weird things that I actually saw in it. If you Google it, I also did post it as the picture of this episode, that all of the, or most of the hum evidence from reports fall between 30 to 60 degrees north latitude and 30 to 45 degrees south. It's like a band across the world. There are clusters in southern Germany, in Florida, in Scotland. So I was like, okay, let's look up ley lines. Ley lines are this belief that there are these pathways of concentrated energy, and ancient people have known about them and worshiped them in so many different ways. They built many of the famous monuments like the pyramids and Stonehenge literally on top of ley lines. In the northern hemisphere, many hums lay on the red band of ley lines. But in the southern hemisphere, the hum lies mainly on the blue band. So again, no real correlation there. But the why is happening, it's debated and it's being studied all the time. hum is not going away anytime soon. And we either need to learn to live with it by learning what it is, or find a way to stop it from happening. Now, I went down a huge and oftentimes conspiratorial rabbit hole studying this one. But the top reasons for the hum, I'm going to go over. So, yes, I do have a favorite one or two, and yes, absolutely, but as several researchers have actually said, it's often localized, complicated, and no one answers can really solve the reason why it happens. So it may actually be a combination of several things, or it's just aliens living under the ground. So let's go over some of the possible reasons. Number one, Schumann resonance. It's literally the name of the sound of the earth makes. It makes sounds based on water level as it rises with the tides and the moon's pull, and happens at day or at night. But that is everywhere. So is this low frequency that many people and many animals don't even notice it or outright hear it. Another interesting note is that, like the earth, people actually make sounds and light, which can be registered and measured. I'm not talking just about farts or those belly stomach sounds when you eat too much. They're called somatosounds. If you lean on your ear at night, you can actually hear your blood flow. It does that all the time, every day, but only sometimes can you yourself actually hear it. But a constant humming? Nope. I mean, I have tinnitus. That causes, and that varies when it happens. Some people hear a constant humming, but not like the hum. It's more like static that your ear makes. Others will periodically hear noises or clicks. Some have acute hearing, that's me, that you can hear things that are in another room or that most people can't or choose to ignore. For example, I can literally hear the cable box spin, other clicks and pops in my house, and I've learned to forget about these sounds that, like, my husband or the dogs make. I even wear earplugs at night so it's quieter to me. Now, people can be or go deaf, but there's an equal and opposite things where people hear too well. Number two, midshipman fish. Yes. There is a real sound, a low, growly hum that you can Google it or find many videos on YouTube about these super sexy male fish. They literally make this weird, low-pitched sound to attract mates, and it can travel many miles through water. But that doesn't explain places like Taos, where there are no oceans or midshipman fish. Number three, Project Sanguine. It was this 76 hertz communication sound, which the government used to communicate literally with subs. And they did all their research and testing around the 1970s to 1990s. Okay, the base that put out the sound was literally in the center of the US and was trying to reach subs in the Atlantic or Pacific. But that doesn't explain the European or Southern Hemisphere things. Now, Jesse Ventura did number four. He investigated Project HARP. God rest his soul. He even made a show, several shows about it. Now, Project HARP was located in Alaska, and it was a research and development program, which, depending on who you talk to, is about some form of weather manipulation or controlling. They figured that if you control the weather and you can change it, you can help your people on the battlefield. Or you could do good and get water to places that need water through rain clouds, which you actually make. They use ELF waves. Well, Project HARP has been long gone, and the land was actually sold off years ago. So I don't know about this one. Number 5, there's another government thing called Takamo. If the world loses power and the normal ways to communicate, governments have developed this communication hum that can be literally transmitted all over the world. But it's never used because we have all these other easier ways and more reliable ways to communicate with other governments and our own armies. Now we're down to my 2 favorites. Okay, aliens are my crazy out of the box conspiracy favorite. But if we're going to go scientific and maybe true, since human beings can really screw up the world and its environment with their own creation and inventions, my money might be on a combination of these next 2 as the cause for the hum. Number 6, pipes. This actually covers nearly every area but house in the initial phases of the hum. Natural gas or oil, as well as pipes carrying any liquid, when they're pressurized or heated, they literally make a low-pitched infrasound. As you make more pipes, more people have the chance to hear it. The more urban an area gets, the more people will hear the noises. When the heat goes down or the pressure decreases, the sound will decrease into a spectrum that people can no longer register in human hearing waves. That doesn't mean that it's gone, but it's still there and you still get the effects, just either not so bad or you just don't realize that it's still happening because you can't hear the sounds associated with it anymore. It's still there, this low frequency electromagnetic radiation. Now, if you think of power or electrical lines this way, they might also fall into those categories. Remember all those studies that are now coming out about, oh, don't put your phone too close to your head for long periods of time, since it might cause cancer or other problems. If you think of wireless communication as unseen pipes of energy going from location to your phone, the same concept can apply. Then there's number 7, drugs. No, I'm not talking about natural ones. Not alcohol in some form. It's been around since the dawn of history. You have all kinds of natural plants and seeds that people have smoked, eaten, made into liquids, which alter our minds and harm our bodies. So that kind of rules them out, since no one says that they hear the hum. Since ancients and not all people use them, that's also another reason why not. I'm actually talking about some interesting correlations between man-made pharmaceuticals and the hum. Valium, oral contraceptives, and blood pressure medicines were developed in and began to be widely used in the 1960s, right before the hum started to be documented. What age groups might use them? Those in our suggested time period and the generation just before it. What does it affect? The head and neck region, where we might hear or feel things. Then scientists began to switch to recombinant DNA drugs and cancer-treating drugs in the 1970s. DNA, both human and animal sequencing, began around 1975 with the Stanford gene studies. Around that time, pain relief drugs like ibuprofen, which can actually be a shock to your system, became widely used in the 1980s. All these drugs are widely available and used by the general population. Could we be altering our bodies and thereby altering our ability to hear things or think that we're hearing things, like a natural side effect for some people? I'm not saying that we're creating mutants, but just maybe we are. Since Chernobyl happened, we're seeing strange dogs and wolves where their DNA is actually genetically altered. But they're living happy lives. There were these strange bees that literally are radioactive on some other sites, and they had to be destroyed. So, if we take drugs, do we really know the side effects? Is there any way to really test for the side effects? And since not all humans are exactly alike, I mean, our DNA is unique to each one of us, then these drugs don't affect each of us in exactly the same way. For example, my mom loves Noxzema cream to clean and moisturize her face. I, her daughter, is highly allergic to it. And today, people are developing allergies later in life when your body is changing its chemical processes. For example, I loved bananas, but as I got older, I'm now sensitive to them. I get stomach issues and oftentimes rashes. Think about things that you could eat once and now forget it, you're not eating it. Or things that you can eat but others can't, or vice versa. We have chemicals which are solely man-made in our systems and in our foods. These were never there for our ancestors' diets. Now, I'm not saying go completely organic or grow your own food, but I am saying be careful. Maybe this hum is the next genetic evolution or shift caused by something we as humans created to make our lives easier to tolerate. And yes, maybe it actually is aliens. Many cultures, and even in the US, have talked about people or creatures living underground for centuries. Several of our past presidents literally believed in a hollow earth. I mean, there are tons of caves and carved out structures in Italy, France, and Turkey, like a place called Cappadocia, which have been around for centuries, and people have lived underground during dark periods, cold periods, or just plain wartime. Maybe we have aliens living and working underground. And like our population, their population is getting too big for where they are. Or maybe the government has created underground bases. Anything is possible in the world today. With all the crazy things that people create or want to create, why not? I'm not ruling anything out. Yes, even aliens. Google or just watch Ancient Aliens and see how many people report seeing things disappearing into mountains or oceans or caves. Now, I leave you here really with no clear-cut answer to what causes the hum. But it's there. It's real. And some people have been so affected by it that they've committed suicide to escape it. Now, research will help. People cataloging and admitting that they hear it will help too. Remembering what you were doing or where you were or what you ate or drank, what was your mood, and things like that can sort of help set the stage for why you hear it. Now, some hearers only hear the hum when they have cold or sinus issues because it literally, well, doesn't plug it up, it actually makes it reverberate in your head. So, for Surely a Mystery, this has been Anna, your living host. Asking you, of course, to leave some reviews and maybe some 5 stars would be nice. Pass the world around about this podcast, and seriously, send me your ideas for future casts. I'm working on another channel called Surely Mysterious about weird things around the world based on all the different ethnicities in New Jersey and their crazy and practical beliefs of paranormal, mythological, and scary things. But in the meantime, remember to keep your mind open and your opinions quiet until you hear all the facts. Never assume anything. And thanks again for listening to this podcast, Straight from Long Beach Island, New Jersey. Until the next time.